to the Nurtured Nurturer podcast. I'm Beth, here for the counsellors, therapists and nurturers who need a little looking after. Today I am talking to Lorraine Berkshire-Roe, who is an illustrator and runs creative workshops of different kinds. And very excited to talk to her today because, as you know, at Counsellors Therapy Pot, we are really into the idea of creativity being really important for well-being. So welcome, Lorraine. It's lovely to speak to you today.
Hello, Wes, really nice to speak to you as well, Beth, and it's really good to be here.
Great, thank you. So, first of all, then, what I would just like to ask you to tell the listeners a bit more about yourself, sort of a bit more about what you do, what your passions are, and that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm an illustrator, and I've always wanted to do art since I was, I suppose, at school. So it was always sort of going to be my main subject. And yes, I went to art college and did graphics and illustration. Went straight through the system from like kind of like school to sixth form and then foundation and degree, and kind of left kind of feeling like, oh, okay, what do I do now? So I did quite a few different things. For me, I'm interested in the world, and that's part of my illustration thing. It's like I love finding out about people, things, places. So I did a bit of I did paper mache for quite a few years, making animals and different things,
Mm,
and then moved to Oxford. Actually, 30 years ago, I've been to Oxford. I've been in Oxford 30 years ago because it was geographically it was very suitable because I've got family down south and up north,
hmm.
and it just felt like a place where and I'm still here. And within about 6 months, I got a job in a design company as an illustrator, which was like a fantastic experience. I was there for 9 years, and then left to be freelance illustrator, and then had my daughter about 17 years ago, and actually found the professional work, art life, quite hard to sort of continue once she went to school. Yeah, so and I really enjoyed working in a design company, and then I went freelance for a few years. And what I found with my art is it's change. It changes all the time. Um, and my Instagram, I call myself Lorraine Art Life, because it's not like that art is my life. Actually, life is a huge part of what I do. And actually,
Mm,
life changes sometimes. So when my daughter came along, I stopped doing commercial work. So I was doing
right.
fairs and things like that. And um, I've always liked doing 3D. So I was doing paper mache and making nice picture frames and stuff. Um, and then sort of realized I wasn't really drawing and stuff. So I started
Mm,
and realizing I really missed it. So I started doing art for myself a bit more like with my sketchbooks. So introducing
mm,
like another part of like something that was really important to me that I used to do at art college. So for a few years when I was actually a teaching assistant, which is quite, I think, quite a common thing when you've got when your children are young. So I kind of became a teaching assistant and did the higher level teaching assistant thing so I could teach. So I was there's lots of different strands kind of like
yeah.
coming together, doing my sketchbooks and then finding that I actually really missed doing art. So 3 or 4 years ago, I started doing art more again. I miss sketchbooks, and about a year and a half ago, I decided after 8 years to get back into. I've been a teaching assistant to get back into doing my art full time, and
Mm,
I'm really loving it because I feel like I've got all this life experience now,
yeah.
which has really kind of meant that what I'm doing now is just really enjoyable. And I feel
Mm,
like I've
mm.
got so much experience from like teaching children
Yes, I can imagine.
and
Mm.
confidence.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So it brings you confidence in your art or creative work that is helpful to have this life experience. What else does it bring, would you say, to your creative work?
Um, I think it's when I worked in a design company, I enjoyed it, but there was sort of part of it I wasn't that it was really good, it was well paid, but it felt a bit empty. And I think
Mm,
there's always been part of me that felt like I wanted to do more than just commercial work or making
yeah.
things money. And it's almost like there's a lot of the skills I learned when I was working in a primary school as a teaching assistant. I did art clubs there, and I was always given the kind of art, teaching sort of art when the teacher was off doing their planning and things. I got so much out of it, and I just thought it just marry wanting to sort of like marry the art thing with that sort of thing wasn't really possible in a primary school. So when I left, which was a really positive thing. It was really, I had a lovely time doing. It was a great sort of 8 years, but it felt a really positive thing, kind of thinking, right, I'm ready to sort of do my own thing.
Mm,
So I'm doing my art, which is very fulfilling to me because I'm not. I'm starting to do commissions, but I'm also doing a lot of work that is makes my brain happy, basically.
yeah. Yeah.
I look forward to doing it,
Mm,
and other people seem to like it as well. And I think that's kind of like shows. I've talked about this to
mm,
people before. It's like if you do things that you enjoy and you love, it
yeah.
comes out, and actually people do respond to it. And actually, when I talk about my work, there's a sort of passion there that like people.
Yeah.
It's not me trying to
Yeah.
sell something. It's like I really want people to understand why I've done it,
Yeah.
and I've had some of the most, especially at stalls. I love like Gloucester Green Market in Oxford, but there's other places. Like I'm there quite often. But I just had so many conversations with people that just start from like someone liking my drawing or opening one of
Mm,
my sketchbook journals on my stall. So that's great. And then I used to do a kids club once a week in Didcot, which I really like because it's really after all those years working kind of like with children creativity, it's sort of like it's hard. It's nice to keep that going because children are just so creative, and it kind of like I don't know. It reminds me to be playful and kind of
yeah. I can imagine.
play. Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that's really important to me. Sometimes it's like I it doesn't always happen, but it's to try and keep that playfulness in my work. That sort of
Mm,
to enjoy it. Um, and then um, I had the idea of wanting to do workshops. So and that's happened over the first year, which is great. I met someone, should name drop, through Independent Oxford, who works at the cluster co-working space in Summertown, who was looking to start events, creative events, and said, "Well, why don't you do it in this space?" And it's like, okay, and had a deadline to try and sort of get it ready, and it was like, wow, I had my
wow.
vision of like wanting to sort of do a really um something sort of like therapeutic, but kind of like mindful. I'm not an art, I didn't want to teach people art, so I do my sketchbook journals, which is basically a place to put anything in,
Mm,
draw holiday memories, tickets, things, and play around with paint and all those sort of things. And I just, I feel like I feel like I've been quite clever because I'm not just teaching drawing. I could put anything. Each workshop's different
yes. Yes.
because it's about creativity.
Yes,
And
yes, absolutely. Creativity as opposed to art in a kind of technical way, I
yeah,
guess. And I'm doing those
yeah,
workshops, which is how we met,
yeah,
and been thoroughly enjoying them. And it is just brilliant with doing different themes like collage or sketching in situ or typography and things like that. And it is very visual It's not just, it could be anything visual. It doesn't have to be sketching. So one of the things we were talking about earlier is actually how the name of the workshops can be either inviting or daunting for people because people, quite often people have an art scar if their art teacher told them they were rubbish or if they've never tried sketching or something like that, they can have feelings about what the workshop is called, and that can make a difference, can't it?
Oh my, yes. I mean, that could start at a really early age as well. Having worked in a primary school, seeing some children, actually children who are actually quite good. I mean, it's seeing that level of expectation from like children or people who are so young that it, it's it, it's hard to break through sometimes. I mean, even as an artist, I mean, it's something that it's the expectations we have of ourselves or what's expected by society or what a thing is, rather than thinking, let's just do it, and actually enjoying that moment of creating where it doesn't have to be for anything. It doesn't have to be a certain standard. It's just about kind of um, releasing those blocks and having a go. So
Yeah.
drawing is a big thing because I've done quite a lot of myth busting, which is one of my favourite things as well of. And I say I'm quite good at what I do now. I've spent a lot of time practicing it, and I've been rusty before. I produce not bad drawings. It doesn't always go right. I don't have a magic thing um that a pencil that it all comes out of. It is it's hard work. Art is hard work, and
Yes.
actually it doesn't always go right, but that's all part of what it is.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like
Yes,
you see someone's
absolutely.
portfolio or their website, that's not all the stuff they've done. That's the end product of lots of experimenting and trial and error, trying things out. Obviously, the more you do that, the more confidence you do get because you're training your brain and you kind of think, okay, I know maybe I won't do that next time.
Mm,
But it's just, I think you've talked about the perfectionist,
mm,
letting go of the perfectionism.
yes.
And it is really that. And it's like, I do things that I don't like sometimes. I think, but I don't beat myself up about it.
Yeah.
Well, I think a
Yeah.
lot of people do beat themselves up about it.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because I remember when we did the sketching in situ workshop, and one of the exercises that you did with us is sketching things really quickly. Like I think was it sort of 2 minutes for each one or something
Is
like
that
that?
we people actually didn't we? We were
Yes.
doing each, that was quite hard. Yeah.
And that was something I'd never done. I'd never sketched people really quickly before. Um, but you literally don't have any time to think about it. You just have to do it. And personally, I know I'm not saying it's easy, but I found that quite liberating.
Yes.
And also, at the time, interestingly, I was sort of realizing that I have perfectionist tendencies, and I didn't actually realize that I did. I realized I've got many other tendencies like people pleasing or
Yeah.
whatever, but I hadn't really realized how much of a perfectionist I can be at times. And
That's
actually, we
it.
spoke about it. Sorry, we spoke about it on this. I spoke about it with this podcast with Neve about we were going to record one of the episodes again, and then we
Yeah.
thought, why are we going to do that? You know, and with doing your sketchbook workshop at the same time, really got me thinking about it's not about having a perfect product when you create something.
And actually, sometimes there's actually, I said about there's nothing actually wrong. It's just
Yes.
sometimes it's not what you were expecting.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I've found that, which like that's, I mean, I lost my confidence or wasn't confident for many years doing illustration because I think I wasn't embracing that kind of part of it, or kind of I was getting disillusioned. I was overthinking. That was the other thing. I was overthinking beforehand, trying to sort of like work out what to do. It's like, do you know what the best way to do it is? Just doing it. It's
Mm.
like putting the pencil on the paper and seeing what happens rather than thinking I
Yes.
have it all worked out before. But one of the things for me personally, what really helped me was is doing this prompt drawing challenge. And I do talk, I'm quite evangelical about it anyway. People talk about drawings, and I say I've about 4 or 5 years ago did the first one in lockdown. Actually, the art broad canvas, the art shop in Oxford in Broad Street. They did their own in October. It was like it's quite a big thing now. It's been going nearly 20 years in October, but they did their own version where they give you a word a day the whole of October. And it's not a competition. And
Mm.
you don't even have to post all of them. And some people don't do all of them, but they did their own version. And I thought, wow, this is great. I felt so rusty, but even like by the end of the month, it was like, and it wasn't just about drawing, it's about thinking. It's about
Mm.
getting into that kind of like frame of mind of thinking, well, I could just draw. If the prompt was bird, I could just draw bird. Or maybe I could do a bird doing something else. Or what sort of bird do I like? It started me kind of like thinking, and then I've done 5 of those now. I've done four proper Inktober's every month. So I did 1.5 years of drawing every day. Just give you a random word. And it just got me really thinking about the things I like drawing. And it was like a tiny framework to start me off. And especially with the October one, you don't have time to think. And
Mm.
I think that's been the biggest gift that for me
Yeah.
is I'm not sure about this illustration. I haven't got time. I'm going to have to do it. And sometimes be halfway through one thinking, oh, this isn't going well, feeling well. It's 10 o'clock at night. And then thinking, I have to finish it. And then get to the end of it thinking, oh, that's all right, actually.
Mm.
Thinking, I, I didn't like it because it wasn't finished. That was a huge revelation. It was like, keep going to the end. And then you kind of like, then you can judge. And actually, sometimes I'd be like, I'm not sure I like that illustration because it completely wasn't what I set out to do to start with. It sounds a bit strange, but sometimes it's quite hard to get what's in your head. You can have a vision, and then that act of putting it on the paper, sometimes you think, oh, I'm gonna have to take a while to get used to that. So you kind of go away for a while, and then it starts growing on you. It's a very strange thing. It's almost like you start seeing something you've created, and you think it almost feels like you haven't done it. It's very strange.
Mm.
And then it becomes something, and you kind of I fall in love with some of my drawings, thinking, wow, and other ones. I mean, if I have a body of work, I don't expect them all to be well, bangers or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Or like, I have ones that I'm okay with. Some think, oh no, they're okay as a small part of that body of work. But I have the odd one where I think, wow, but I don't expect them all to be wow ones. I think that's what I've learned as well. You kind of like you can have a good, okay drawing, and that's fine. But if I've done good work before and then felt huge pressure on myself to reproduce that every time. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, it does.
And obviously, if you're doing commercial work, you do have a certain consistency. You have to have a certain consistency.
Mm.
But I've kind of learned what to say yes to as well. Do you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
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 So it's a bit like, well, that person wants that from me, but I'm already feeling like about it. So it's like, well, don't go there. Say, work out what it is how you can do that within the way you do it.
Yes, yes, yes. And how, with you having mentioned the commercial side again, I know you said earlier that that felt a bit empty to you. And what you're doing now, it sounds like it's much more you, much more enjoyable. Can you tell me a bit more about the difference between that? Because I think when we're talking about creativity, that's really important.
Well, yeah, it is. And it's like, it's always tricky because when you love, I mean, it could be with any job, but when you love doing something, And if it's a hobby, you do it for yourself. But if once you move out into sort of like a professional, I think that's kind of what puts a lot of people off doing. There's lots of art people out, artists and really good people who don't do it as a profession. And it's really valid, do you know what I mean? Because it's like you kind of do sort of risk killing almost like the thing that as
Yeah.
a professional or that really kind of
Yeah.
feeds you. So
Mm.
it's quite a balancing act. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause you think
Mm.
once it becomes
Yeah.
work, you're kind of doing things for other people.
Mm.
It's to a certain degree it's all right, but actually it can destroy that kind of joy. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of people who do art and they might have got another job and they might go to art fairs or have exhibitions, but they don't actually make. And I did that for quite a while, and actually um, really enjoyed it. But I think I'm doing okay this
Mm.
time.
Yeah.
I feel like
Wonderful.
I've had. I think it's because I'm a bit older as well, and I've got a bit more experience.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
actually I feel like I'm doing it right this time because maybe because I have been to the point before where I was doing work and it's like, oh gosh, you sit down and
Mm.
thinking it's like my brain is not lined up on this, but I'm going to have to
Mm.
dredge this sort of thing, and I
Yeah.
it's a really horrible feeling, and it's like
Mm. Yeah.
maybe it gets harder as you get older. I don't know, or kind of what, or not as you get older, as more you do it, you just feel like, whoa, this is hard. I want to do
Mm.
this anymore. Or maybe I just do
Mm.
my art. Um,
Mm.
I think I did have a bit of a natural break actually. I don't think it was just because of my daughter. I think I did need to step away from it. I was definitely 2 or 3 years where I think I needed to really step away
Mm.
in with sketchbooks, but purely
Yeah.
for me, not
Yeah.
post. I didn't have a website or anything, and I think I
Mm.
needed to sort of really step it back.
Yeah. A recalibration or something like that.
Mhm.
Um,
I think, well, if I do it again, I'm going to do it differently.
yes. 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 And we need time then to sort of take stock. You can't just leap into it, can you?
No, it's a long process, and I think I had there's about a couple of years where I was teaching at the school and I was doing my Inktober things, like the drawing prompt challenges and sketchbooks, and it was like really you think this is. I was doing my work. It's it's working in school. It's quite demanding and can be stressful. But I'd be like, great, I've got my drawing to do, and then it was like I started doing more, and the job maybe got a little bit more stressful, and I was thinking I can't do the both. And I thought, right, and then it might made me think I think I need to start thinking about, doing this more. So yeah, so that was the start really.
Mm.
But yeah, I think there was some time I thought I really miss it. I really miss being an illustrator. And that's what I
Mm.
need again. Do you know
Mm.
what I mean? I really felt I needed that kind of but if I hadn't felt that, I might have gone more down the teaching route. Who knows? But I think,
Mm.
to be honest, I think that was probably always going to happen. But actually, I kind of had to feel it. I had to feel that kind of.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And what did it when when it started to flow more, um, what did that feel like in comparison to when you were doing the more commercial side?
Um, well, it felt like it's almost like all the cogs and all the wheels were sort of like lining up. Or it's like it felt like I'd always been doing so many different things as well because partly through choice because I mean I do a bit of ceramics, was doing 3D things, and I've always liked doing lots of different things. But when I was doing commercial work, it was not so much my style. It was more doing all different things. And I'd done painting before. And then doing this Inktober thing, I thought, I'm a I'm a drawer. I'm a drafts person. I'm not a painter. And I gave my daughter all my paints. I mean, she doesn't really paint them, but she's doing A level at the moment, so she'll probably use them. But like, I just thought, why am I doing this? I'm just going to draw. And so I've been
Mm.
like, thought, doing and loving it and thinking this is what I should be doing. Why didn't I work that out ages ago? But I think it's because I never had the opportunity to really work on one aspect and just that it's sort of for me it feels like it is built my confidence because I'm doing that and then it's like I think there's probably some sort of psychological thing. I think to do with the brain, that if you keep doing practicing one thing, I don't, I read it maybe 2 or 3 years, but if you keep doing it, there is a certain point where you get where it's almost like starts doing it for you because you're training. And I thought, I don't think I've ever had this before where I've really, really practiced one thing and I can sit down and think, I'm not sure how it's going to happen, but I think I can do this. I think I can actually, just by sitting down, thinking about it right, keeping those kind of wheels going the right direction, that actually I can do this,
Yeah, 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 I can understand what you're saying. And that's why it's so ridiculous that we think, we might go to a workshop or something for the first time and think that we've got to produce something amazing. I mean, how is that going to happen? It
Well,
just
no, it
isn't, isn't it? Because
is.
we do have to, you have to learn the skill.
Well, you do, and I think there's. I mean, there was one person that came to my workshop who really hadn't done much, had really had any experience of art, but it was amazing. Wanted to have a go, um, and actually found it. And the work, actually, it was an in situ drawing one again with drawing people, which is quite a hard one. It was like the work was, it was really good for someone who hadn't. They were so despondent.
Mm,
I was trying to explain to them, saying, if you're going for a driving lesson, it's like you're expecting to be on the motorway
yeah,
after the first
yeah,
lesson. It's
yeah.
like you don't brilliantly sort of. I mean, I don't know. I was terrified when I did my first driving lesson. I was thinking, oh, I can't believe I'm. It took me. I was 37 when I passed. It took me ages, kind of like to get sort of um actually I had to in the end. It got really impractical. I think I can't put this off any longer. But you're there thinking, I just want this to be over type thing. But I felt so proud of myself for making that phone call and actually getting in that car. And it's the same thing with art. Do you know what I mean? I felt so proud of
Absolutely.
myself. It's
Yeah.
like trying to sort of say, you've done brilliantly to come in here. And it's like this is all fine, but it's very hard to explain for you can't just say that to someone and make and then they'll believe it. It takes a while, but I think they want to come back, which is great. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
Just to say, just be easy on yourself. And I've got another someone I know who has come to the workshops and who's never really done much art before, worked in a completely different practical professional life. And it's so I've sort of done the myth busting and saying you don't have to come here with like a certain skill level. It
mm,
really is just about playing and actually they're producing work. Do you know what I
mm,
mean? And enjoying it. And it's
mm.
some sort of like has opened up this whole new thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's not that thing you thought. It's like you're not meant. I mean, I never say to people, it's never a standard anyone has to meet. And I also say you need to have the enthusiasm to have a go at drawing. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a little bit of drawing in it, but it is as much as you need. And I think that's one of the things we were talking about, the terminology as well. The sort of tiny little things can put people off having a go, and which is such a shame because I think once people put a mark on a paper, they realise, oh my, it just takes you somewhere else. It's really mindful. You're you're in that moment. You're
Mm,
engaging a part of your brain. But just even that, someone said to me like, I took a long time thinking about my sketchbook workshops, what to call them. And I call them sketchbook journal workshops because
mm.
that's what I always call mine. But actually, someone said actually visual journaling is. And I thought that's a really great way of putting
Yeah.
it because
Yeah.
even if you just say sketchbook, this is someone in
Mm,
another summer school actually, they're really very experienced teacher. I thought, well, that's true, isn't it? So like, because it was like a minefield, honestly, trying to sort of because you've got artist sketchbooks, and some people are like, that's not, about the terminology of what different books are called and stuff. But actually, even saying sketchbook in it, it's very drawing.
yes. Yes.
In
And
my
like,
in your mind, would you think that's I'm going to have to do lots of
mm,
drawing?
mm,
So
mm.
I'm thinking of describing it a bit more like it's visual journaling.
Yes. Yes. That makes sense. And like we were saying before, there's some words, phrases that can be triggering
Mm.
actually, and can put people off. But when really all it's about is about having a go.
Yeah, so yes, such little things like terminology, or like can be like you said, can be a real trigger to sort of like um put people off, and
Yeah.
because or create anxiety, and I think
Yes.
that's the thing that we're trying. I'm trying not to. I would hate. I think, and I can see actually sometimes when I start my workshops. I can see, and I've got used to it now. And actually, that's the thing. I've done 10 of them. It's like I try to sort of be as kind of like do an overview and give expect the expectations to say they're very not very low, but it's like not to have expectations and just to sort of like trust me. It's like it sounds a lot now, but actually you can sort of this is the tools for you kind of doing the workshop. But I sometimes can see a slight bit of anxiety in people, and I was like kind of like I don't make it relaxed, and then by the time when we start, you can just see that all go, which I just love because it's like people have a go, and it's like yes, you're allowed to cut pieces of paper up. And you can play, and I will scaffold as well, so people can have a it's never a blank page. You know what I mean? It's like there's an example. But I love it. By the end of the 2 hours of my workshops, I just see so many things that I haven't told people. They've just taken it somewhere
Mm.
or had ideas before, because I was sort of like have a little bit, and that's what I love. And it's just like
Yeah.
it's such. I sometimes I'm busy, and I get to the end of the 2 hours of the thing, and I'm like, I just feel like I've been smiling. I feel more relaxed. We've had
Yes.
lovely conversations,
Yeah. Yeah.
and to me, that's what it's about. And
Yes.
I was
Yes.
making another point about about the drawing as well. And actually, I tell people about my mistakes. I mean, I did a drawing
Mm.
or show them. We were doing the when we were the quick drawings of the people, the in-situ sketching, and I had a go. And I did a classic mistake. I started off too big, and I thought. Then I tried to fit the rest of the body. I said, "Look, this is mine." And they were like, "said, oh, really
Mm.
glad you showed me that." I said, "Yeah, it's like it kind of happens. Do you know what I mean? It's all part practicing
Yes.
and just just saying to people, if I think with my visual, let's say my visual journals, all I want to do is make an interesting page. So
Mm.
sometimes if it
Exactly.
goes
Yeah.
wrong, I might colour it in a different way, or I'll make it and turn it into something
Yes.
else.
Yes.
Or I'll stick something
Yes.
over it. I'll stick something over it. I'll just think, well, I don't like that. That's made that page less interesting. So I think, what can I do with that? I'll stick something over it, or I'll do a little pop up, or do
Yeah.
it's about creative thinking. It's not thinking, oh God, that was meant to be like that, and now it's rubbish. No, change it. And
Yes.
then,
Yes. When I've been doing the workshops, I've found, a little mistake. Oh, okay, well, I'll do that with it instead. And it's made it a lot more interesting or,
exactly.
or
Yeah.
different or unique. So, yeah, I can really understand what you're saying
Yeah.
there.
But I think that's what I do with my illustrations. As I say, sometimes I'm thinking, with art is a lot, it's all about looking and decision making, decision making, and the and you think, well, actually, you could say it's about whole life. We were talking earlier. Sometimes you have to stop and think, what's happening here? I'm actually this isn't quite what it's expecting, but it's okay. So you have to stop and think, well, what could I do? It's like maybe I won't carry on doing what I thought I was going to do at the beginning of this illustration or this sketchbook page. Maybe I need to change it. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's part of creativity as well. It's just it's about kind of thinking about making it interesting and thinking, well, I'm not enjoying this drawing, so I'm going to
Yeah.
stop it.
Yes. That's it.
Especially,
You don't have to finish everything as well.
yeah,
It
I
was an
mean,
experiment. You tried it.
yeah,
Fine.
exactly. I mean, even in if I'm doing an illustration, but it's not as much. But I sometimes think, well, no, I'm just gonna. That's my first start. I'm gonna start again or something, or do it slightly different. Or with the sketchbook, you just think, or have it if you have an idea. Think, well, no, I prefer that idea now. I'm gonna ditch the other one. I'm gonna go with this
Yeah.
one. It's all
Yeah.
about kind of like playing, really, and
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, absolutely. And I really related to what you were saying as well about the way that you feel kind of after the sessions, because I feel like almost feel like a different person afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
And it is like it can be very mindful if we let ourselves go. It can be very mindful, can't it? And also, I find because I do different creative things, like I do lino printing and I do writing, and I find that doing the visual journaling rather than sketchbook journaling, it actually gives me ideas for other things. It's a
Yes.
real way for letting your mind go and come up with ideas, hopefully in a non-judgmental kind of way.
Well, it is. I mean, I think it's as well. Because I know when I said when I was, I think from 2015, I remember going on holiday, thinking, I was keeping like little diaries, just mainly written. And I bought like a little Moleskine book, and I did some, and I was thinking, oh dear, I'm just so out of practice. And it was then I found the sketchbooks I like, which is that's the other thing you kind of find after a while you find out the materials you like as well. Do you know what I mean? It's all a part of find practice. And I found the book. I love my books. And I always get the same one now. And I think that's a very personal thing as well, isn't it? We were talking about this a couple of sessions ago. It's like you find the things that make you feel nice or that have value to you. Do you know what I mean? And I
Mm,
kind of think so I kind of I started doing my sketchbooks again. Visual journals, they're called
yeah.
now, were a really important place for me to, I think, be me as well, and kind
Mm,
of rediscover. So when my daughter was about 8, and that was kind of really the only art I was doing.
yeah.
Um, but it was that mindful thing, and actually, especially when I was working in it is hard to get time. I think this is quite nice where
Mm,
um you do workshops and things, but I never it's never a chore for me doing the sketchbooks. And I think when I worked as a teaching assistant, before I went back to doing art more, it made me feel like I still did art because I had the holidays and
mm, yeah.
time, and it was such joy. It was like maybe my daughter was out on a play date or something, and I maybe have half a day sitting at my desk, and I'd always have something I hadn't finished as well. Maybe like I'd started doing like a bit of a more of a sketch when I was on holiday, and I thought, well, I finished that later. Like, go back and finish that now. I'd have my son, I'd just get lost and forget
Mm,
everything else. It would just be me doing my sketchbook with this lovely task that I was completely focused on, and other things would happen. And I didn't know exactly what I was going to do sometimes, but at the beginning, and then I kind of see, and I'd make, and it just felt so therapeutic.
yeah.
And it releases nice chemicals, and then
Yeah.
that kind of. But even now, I think I look back thinking there's so many things I did, and they weren't finished things, but they were useful for me in my art now. And I realised I was always kind of just working out things that I like and doing things and
Mm,
getting that kind of creative thinking, you know,
yes.
kind of.
Yes. So, for people out there who might be interested in doing some visual journaling as like self-care, well-being pursuit, what would you recommend to them?
I think, well, it should be something that you enjoy. It's not, it shouldn't be a chore. I would say find a nice book. You might not like it. I mean, you might in the end think, well, no, I don't like this book. I liked a different one. It's all part of kind of the process. But really just have a go. I mean, when I did my first one, it has so much more writing in it, and that
Mm,
was fine. Do you know what I mean? So I was like writing things down because I, especially when my daughter was young, I thought I don't want to forget all these things. So I was writing. Then I thought, well, actually, there's too much writing, so I started putting a little bit more drawing in, and then I start sticking tickets in, and then I thought, oh, I've got a bit of time. What can I do? Like, remember once, Andy Murray had won his first medal, whatever, I've all those years for trying. I think it was the Olympics, and I did a drawing of him, and it felt really silly, but I put a frame around it saying, well, and
Mm,
I thought, no, why is it silly? Do you know what I mean? And then I thought, no, that's interesting. I I look back now, and it was not a bad drawing, but actually that's the first time probably for ages I sat down for more than an hour
mm,
drawing. So then I started thinking, and you look over the space of maybe, the 10 years, it's mainly visual now. I do have writing, but there's so much more visual stuff in. But that it was a process. So I was thinking,
mm.
just start somewhere. You could maybe
Yes.
stick. I mean, at the moment, I'm not doing much drawing in my sketchbooks because I do a lot more drawing in my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
So, and it was really weird crossover, swap over when I started doing illustration full time again. I kept thinking, oh, I'll stick that in my book and I'll catch up with that later. So then I thought, and I'll no, there's that. So I'll stick that and do that bit of writing. I'll do the drawing and stuff then. And I had absolutely loads of pages, and it felt a burden. I thought, this is wrong. This is not what it's meant to be. I thought actually realizing it had changed, and actually I can't do quite as spend as much time on it.
Mm,
So I've got a lot more stuff that I stick in now. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Quicker drawings or like a bit of writing,
Mm,
and that's fine again. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like
yes.
it's never meant to be a chore, and it's like I don't
No.
have a set schedule, and I might go weeks, and then I'll go on holiday, and it's like, oh, it'll be Christmas. I'm probably at Christmas I'll do a bit more catching up and sticking things, or
Yeah.
maybe I won't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I think that
Absolutely.
it's trying to it's making the time for it. I think that's the thing because there's usually so many things in everyday life that, or maybe just bringing it out with you. Do you know what I mean? I bring it out sometimes if you're in a cafe or something,
Mm,
um, doing something in there, or kind of sticking something in rather than just sitting on your phone. Or,
yeah. Yeah, because
but
it's quite a good thing in terms of you can just have a sketchbook in your bag or something like that, can't you? And just have a few minutes in a cafe or something and do something.
yeah,
It doesn't need to be very planned, or you don't need to have loads of posh equipment or anything like that.
you don't need posh. You probably just need like a pencil case. With I mean, no, actually it's not visual, is it? So I was going to show you it. But I've got a pencil case. It's a very grubby thing now. I've had it about 5 or 6 years, but I love it. It's like one of those ones where it goes down, it makes a pen pot, and I've got a
Oh,
tiny
great. Yeah. I love
water.
stationery.
Oh, I do. I love it as well. And I've kind of like got a kit for if like if I'm going out for an actual sketching session, like if we're on a holiday. I think actually that's a luxury for me as well. If I go away with my sister, usually in February, we go for 2 days, and she's an illustrator as well. So I know, um, or maybe with friends or family who you know really well,
Mm,
you have space, you can be with them, but you don't have to talk all the time.
yeah.
So I
Yeah.
can go for a walk, and then we'll both sit down and do like
Oh, that's
half an hour.
lovely. Yeah.
It's so lovely. And then I've got my sketch, and then we'll go back
Mm,
afterwards, and I'll kind of stick the things in. And um that's just lovely. So I'll have like a bit, maybe a bit of a bigger set for if I'm actually
yeah.
going out to get sketching session. But I kind of yeah, I mean there are times where actually most of the stuff in my sketchbook at the moment is stuff I've been practicing for the workshops.
Mm,
So it's like it, but I'll look back on that. This is nice. It's nice looking back on, you think. I think, oh yeah, I remember when I was doing all my stuff for the sketchbook workshops, some
yes.
pop things in there. And I've kind of tried to put about me doing the sketchbooks. It's a bit meta or something.
Mm. So it can actually be connecting. You've talked about sort of sitting with people you're close to who might do something similar to you. And also I know I've gone to the sessions with a friend, and that's really nice. And you sort of compare what you're doing,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. I think there can be connection there. And also, like you say, it is lovely to look back through the sketchbooks and look at places you've been, events and things like
I must say, I
that.
mean, that's
Andy
actually
Murray
quite.
winning Wimbledon, stuff like
Actually,
that.
that's kind of, I mean, that kind of a big part of what I do is, I mean, I've always liked keeping a diary, but actually, it's a visual journal that it's
Mm,
like, I sometimes, I've got ones that are just writing and, it's like you don't always want to read through all that, but actually,
mm,
it's just doing it makes you remember it more as well. A friend of mine once, so we used to go on a lot of family holidays, like camping
hmm
holidays once a year, and oh, we'd maybe done 10 years of it, and he said, how do you remember all these? I can't remember. I said, because I've drawn them. I haven't got the books with me now, but I remember the act of kind of drawing. It just makes you really present, I think. It's like,
mm,
you have to be active, I think, to do art. You have to really engage with it. And it's about looking at things. It's like, I like the in-situ drawing ones. People say, you see, when do you actually really stop and look at something?
yes,
And if
yes,
you draw anything, it's like you could just draw your glasses or you could draw your favorite cup. But actually, when do you never really look at something? And I think that's that act is quite zen or something, isn't it? It's about really
yeah,
being in that moment.
yeah, yeah. I remember once when I was feeling quite stressed one day and I did something creative. And before I started doing the creative thing, I noticed on my like fitness watch that my heart rate was really quite high. And I was like, oh gosh. And then but when I was doing the creative stuff, I noticed that it really went down. You actually
Yeah.
do notice this.
I think that's it. I mean, it's trying to sort of get those times. I think it's really hard when you're busy. That's the thing, sort of get those times. And I was
Yeah.
like, I think doing it with a friend is because someone said they meant they some people have carried. So I'll be waffling a bit there. What I'm not teaching people to draw. I'm teaching people, hopefully, if anything, is just to sort of the importance of having some creativity. And I think a
Mm.
sketchbook is a really lovely place because it's very
Yeah.
personal. It's that place that you can think, oh, I can do something on that, or you can go back to old pages. That's the other thing, and you can add to them. You know what I mean? It's never finished. I mean, I've gone back
No.
to ones,
Mm.
you could think, well, actually, maybe I didn't. Oh, I could finish that, or
Mm.
it was just somewhere to go. Um, but some people kind of have managed to carry on, but some said, oh, I meant to, but I said, maybe meet up with a friend or something. Or
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
making time, um, making that appointment to do it. It's because time can just can rush on by kind of
Yeah.
without you doing it. But I think there are, I mean, what I want to do eventually is try and find a venue where there's like an evening thing where it's more of a drop-in thing, where it's almost like bring your sketchbook along, let's see what other people have done, have a chat and stuff. Here's some ideas, maybe if you're a bit stuck for inspiration or, or it's just a place. I had a friend who did
Yeah. Yeah.
sewing
Yeah.
meetings, things. She said
That's
once a month, it keeps
mm,
her going because she knows that she's going to kind of like go to that 2 hour session like, every the first Monday of the month or something.
yeah. Yeah. That's a lovely idea. And people listening out there, if they've got friends with who also do something creative, it doesn't even need to be the visual journaling. But you can get together once a month and sit and have a natter and do something creative together.
Or find out if there's any workshops on or like drop
Yeah.
in or a life drawing or I think it's just trying some different things as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
just but something that's just for its own sake as well, I think, as well, that not always having to do things for a purpose, because you can it's just about playing really. I think it's just yeah,
Mm,
we'll get a
yeah.
bit yeah, it can all get a bit sometimes.
And you said earlier on about, learning from the kids really about the, playfulness, how sort of refreshing that can be.
Well, it can because like I do this once a week in Cornerstone in Didcot, Cornerstone Arts, and do mess makers it's called. And I just love it now because I kind of know, don't overthink it. All I need is just give the kids a starting point. Like this, we've been doing pop-ups actually. Actually, we did it for 2 weeks. The first week it was that pop-up. I don't know if we did one in the sketchbook thing. It was just really the most simple pop-up.
Mm,
It's just then they just went off. So we'll do pop-ups another week. And so I did a few more examples, and they just go with it. And it's like you just put stuff out. I had like it's been like my sketchbook visual journal workshops where put I think one of the things people really like is there's quite a lot of materials. There's different pens, there's paints, there's different papers.
mm,
It's like, oh, it's like
mm.
suddenly you're back as a kid in a toy shop, and that's what kids are
Yeah.
like. You,
And
you don't
mm,
you don't have to give them like, I mean, some people, I'm not testing, some people like a project and they want to make that thing that, but mine a bit more like, what can you do? It's like getting back to that kind of, I suppose, child like way of kind of just going with it and do have an
yeah.
idea, do it, you know.
Mm. And it's very sensory as well, d different papers and paints and things like that. And
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, which is really good for being in the moment.
it is. Yeah. I mean, that's what I said, like, you start collecting. I mean, I start collecting things after. I mean, if you start going around thinking, oh, that would be nice for my sketchbook journal, or you see some nice
Mm,
paper or something, or you see something on Instagram and you think, oh, I'd quite like to do that. Actually, someone sent me something yesterday with this how you can use sellotape to put on. Actually, I'm going to try and do it myself and maybe bring it to a workshop. You get sellotape, put it on a magazine, so we get the surface off the magazine, and you put it in water, and you get this weird effect. And it's like, wow, I want to practice that. I'll practice that in my sketchbook. Do you know what I mean? You start seeing things in, say, on Instagram or little tutorials and stuff, and think, well, there you've got to play, sort of have a go. And I think it's quite big, actually. I think there are a lot of workshops and things. I think generally people are realizing it's really important to do
yes,
sort of creativity. And
yes,
I think it's
yes.
really good. I am seeing it around a lot more, and people are kind
Mm,
of having a go at staff doing.
yeah,
Like you said, you don't need a lot of money. You don't need to
yeah.
spend, absolutely. I mean, you can get really cheap art materials for things like the
Mm,
works or Flying Tiger, like little watercolor set, £4. Do you know what I
yes.
mean? You don't have to spend 100 £100 whatever on buying
No.
all the equipment, and
Yeah.
actually using ephemera and things from around. It's kind of nice. I stick labels in sometimes, and it's like you think it's everyday stuff.
Mm, yeah.
Actually, you look back, you think, wow, that's not the same now, or you kind of like, if it brings back memories,
Mm,
basically. So
yes, yeah, absolutely. And something I wanted to pick up on that you said earlier was about it made me think about sort of how when we are sort of true to ourselves, the universe sort of starts speaking to us. And I was interested in when you said about you started doing the creative stuff again, and you basically met somebody that meant you started doing the workshops.
yeah,
Um, so it is interesting, isn't it? How when we do start being more true to ourselves, tap into that creativity maybe, that things sort of start to fall into place.
I think it is that because you sort of like it is a bit scary, and then you sort of like it's like putting that first mark on the paper, or doing that putting that first step out the door. Um, starting to talk to other people and thinking, okay, actually, maybe I can do this, and then you
Mm,
then you start getting out there, and then I met sort of the person who I do with Kevin at the cluster,
mm.
who said, do you want to do your workshops here? And then it's like to try and get something to me within 2 months, thinking, eek. Just a bit. It was great. It wasn't like a big deadline, but it was like, oh wait, wow. It made me think about it, and then think, yeah, I do want to do sketchbooking. I mean, it's like, no, I
Mm,
don't want to do drawing. It's like I was very right from the beginning, thinking this is what I really love doing, and I want to teach something, and want to do something
yeah.
that I'm really passionate about. And then yeah, just you look back and think, I think I'm such a different place now than I was a year ago for all the
Yeah.
different things I've done.
Mm.
And it's just from getting out there, really. And I suppose
Yeah.
kind of stepping into the unknown, it can be quite
Yeah.
scary, but actually, it's like with art or anything, you think do little steps and just keep thinking, okay, what do I like? I like that. I think you sort of weigh up the things
Mm.
and then you sort of, things start building and
Yeah. And I think your gut gets a bit braver in sort of telling you,
yeah.
where to go and things
Yeah,
like
so you think,
that.
well, I'm all right, this is good. I'm
Mm.
feeling good about this. So you kind
Yeah.
of start inching forward a bit more, and then you
Mm.
kind of your confidence builds, and yeah, and but I think a lot of it does come from that belief, that authentic sort of belief. You think, um, I'm doing what I feel is right for me,
Yeah.
even no, not you think it's silly, but sometimes you think, well, I don't know. Then you think that's what other people are doing.
Mm.
That's what people do. They're doing what they do, and it's like you think I'm not doing any different. They all look like they kind of got it all worked out. It's them making those brave steps. They've did that maybe a bit earlier than me, but they've gone out there and they've kind of like
Yeah.
had a go and
Yes.
well, why not me? Basically,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think, mainly what we've been talking about today is creativity for creativity's sake, which I think is really important. But I think there's also counselors, therapists, self-employed people out there who might be listening who want to sort of build up other streams of income, maybe in a more creative side of things. What would you say to them? What would you say the key things to do are?
Well, I mean, there's lots of opportunities. I mean, there's a lot of people who've got like day jobs, who are doing art, and I mean, I always used to
Mm.
do like a couple of, always did used actually never stopped doing a couple of Christmas fairs. I always really liked, so actually had enough capacity, and actually the problem was the rest of the year when I took my Christmas stuff out, I didn't have a lot of stuff that was, but it was just like it's something to work towards, and there are a lot of markets and things now, and obviously they've got things like Etsy, like online shops, obviously other online shops are available, or commissions for people. So there are sort of opportunities for doing things like that,
Mm.
and or
Yeah.
finding. But I think if you have got a day job, what you do, it needs to be something you love outside of
Mm.
work, because you're going to be tired. So it's got to be something. Like I said,
Yeah.
when I was in October, when I was a teaching assistant, I really couldn't wait to get drawings. You know what I mean? It was something that was
Mm.
like, it's like interplay of opposites almost. You know what I mean? It was kind of
Yeah.
like it. I felt, well, in a way, it looks like I'm working all the time, but it didn't feel like work
Mm.
because one thing was refreshing the other until the
Yes.
point where actually I started doing art more, thinking actually I can't do actually two jobs. So that's when it kind of like I thought I'm going to do art, and get the teaching part into my art world. But I think if you find something that you really love doing, and then there's things like art weeks,
Mm.
which is
Yeah.
that's really good as well.
Yeah. That's really big now, isn't it?
It's really big, and it's like it's a really lovely way of meeting other people. And then there's doing
Yes.
classes, workshops, um, yeah, and sort of putting, maybe putting things on social media, just it can be daunting because most people I think are really positive. I can't think of anyone who's bothered to say they don't like my work. If people don't relate to it, they usually just sort of just don't relate to it
Mm.
basically. But
Yeah.
it's nice when people when if you made something and someone really likes it and you think, oh, some way I've made them feel better, or they feel really
Yes.
connected with something
Yeah.
I've
It's
done.
lovely, isn't it?
It's
And it's
really
not and it's not objective, art isn't objectively bad or good, really, is
no,
it? It's
no.
very subjective, isn't it? Something I might like, you might not like at all.
Well, no, exactly. And that's the other thing with my prints. I mean, I've got a lot of drawings from Inktober, and some of them. like if I've done a drawing with a Radcliffe camera, that's probably my best, most popular one because it's of the subject matter. But sometimes I've done sort of real niche things, and I thought, oh, I'll put that in. I'll make a print of it and see. And then someone's bought it.
Yeah,
And I think,
no, you
and
don't
then
surprise
sometimes
me. Mm,
the odd one, you think, no, that's the cultural reference, or kind of maybe it's too old. People go, oh, so I maybe won't do that. But you never know. There probably is someone like out there that would like it. But
mm.
sometimes you think, I try not to second guess at the beginning. I try not to second guess too much what people are like because everyone's different.
Absolutely,
And you
absolutely. Yeah.
never know what someone is going to I did a drawing of a plane, and it was one of my dad passed away a few years ago, but it was like he used to do lots of airfix models, and he had over 100 of them. So I kept two, and I think my sister kept a couple. One of them was, I don't know why, it was I did a drawing of it for one of the prompts, and I thought I'll make a print of it. And people, I've sold a few, but so many conversations I've had from it. I go,
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
detail. It's like, how do you know? And it's just like, but it's just interesting. So even though I don't sell a lot, I always have that one on the stall because it's a conversation starter. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Most people don't want to buy something, but it's nice to have a
Absolutely.
conversation.
And it's authentic to you as well.
Yeah.
I just had wanted to pick up on one more thing that you mentioned. You mentioned about myth busting. I was interested to ask you a bit more about that.
Right, yeah. It was really about people not realizing, I guess, in relation to sort of creativity.
Mm.
But you see, I mean, I do. I mean, you see some amazingly accomplished work, and you think, I can never do that. Well, I also think probably, well, I probably can't ever do that, and that's fine. Do you know what I mean? You can't do everything, but you have to try to find out what you're good at, and actually
Mm.
not devalue what you do by
Mm.
comparing it to somebody else. So that's really
Yeah.
important. Just think you can't do everything, and actually that person probably can't do other things. Well, definitely can't do other things. It's about finding out what you are
Mm.
to do. And I mean, there's the art thing. I mean, obviously, some people are, are better at drawing. Have got a genetic thing where they're going to be better at drawing, but drawing isn't everything. It's like that is
Uh,
not. You don't have to draw to be creative. My mum wasn't. She couldn't draw at all, but she was an amazing gardener. To sort of like the texture and the color and that it was just really, it was a talent. Do you know what I mean?
mm.
We all have different talents.
Yes.
But even we don't, everyone can get better. Everyone can get better. And everyone who's really good at what they do has worked really hard.
Yes.
You,
Yes.
it,
Yes.
it doesn't, I mean, you might get the odd auteur or whatever, someone who's just so gifted but every artist, major artists, they've worked for years.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, and
Yeah.
my myth busting is don't compare yourself to them.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? That's kind of like it's hard work. You don't just put a pen and a drawing comes out. And I find it really hard. I have to engage a sort of part, and it's easier now because I've been doing it more, but you have to engage that part of your brain. You have to sort of, if I've been running around doing kind of practical stuff, I don't just sit down. It takes me a while for everything to sort of settle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And just practice and sort of like realizing what's happening and what you have to do, and that, maybe it's not working because I'm really not in the right headspace, and
Yes.
beat yourself up about
Mm.
it. It's about kind of realizing there's a lot more to it.
Mm.
And sometimes it doesn't go right. I mean, I did a
Yeah.
talk to the kids at primary school once, and one of them said, well, how do you feel when you're drawing? And well, a brilliant question. I think it was about year three kid. It was the last year when I was at the primary school where they were doing an art week. So brought my work in and stuff, and it was all wow, wow. I said, well, sometimes I don't feel very good. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Because actually,
Mm.
sometimes but that's part of it. Actually,
Yeah.
used to the fact that not always feeling good about what you do is part of it, and it's fine.
Mm.
And
Yes.
it doesn't mean you're a bad artist. I said, I don't, I said, if I've done something, I might think, okay, I'll look at it tomorrow. And so sometimes I do throw it in the bin and I think, no, it isn't very good. But then I do it again and I think, well, I've learned, you know what I mean, from that. Or I think, actually, it's not as bad as I thought it was. I mean, just it's about don't go into panic mode and think, oh, I can't do it, or I'm not as good as them. Basically, it's
Yeah.
that sort of thing because, and
Yeah.
just have a go because everyone can get better. And actually, when you, it's like anything when you practice, once you start seeing improvement, it really makes you feel good. And you just think,
Yes.
now you start
Yes.
understanding it. It's like learning a new language.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just having it, like you say, it's having a go to start with. Even having a go is a great thing to have done, I think.
Yeah, and it's about being okay to make mistakes. It's
Yeah.
like that perfectionism. It's like you can't learn anything without making mistakes. You cannot.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So,
So, it's been so lovely to talk to you today, Lorraine. Thanks ever so much for coming on the podcast.
oh, thank you.
And I ask everybody who comes on what their favorite self-care or well-being sort of act is at the moment.
Well, I'm very busy, and my self-care is act is giving me myself some space to think,
Mm,
basically. So I realized I don't always do that, and then I end up feeling a bit burnt out. It's like on
yeah,
Sunday, didn't have any fairs to go to and stuff. And I thought I was doing a bit of work. I thought that's trouble being self-employed. Sometimes
mm,
you think, well, I don't know, I'll just do this. I got in the car, I drove out to White Horse Hill. I love it up there. And just that thing of being in the car, and I felt I gave myself space to think. And I thought I need to see a horizon. And that's my
yeah,
I think I need to do that more. I have to make time. And it was
mm.
lovely. And I was only up there about 20 minutes, bit of wind in my face, and I stopped for a cup of tea afterwards and and just time to think and not do. I think that's it basically for me. It's just because I like paddle boarding.
All
Um,
right.
can't get there at the moment because of doing art fairs and stuff. But I was thinking, oh, well, I can't get paddle boarding because I love that because I did it at Farmore Reservoir and big open space. But it doesn't mean I can't go out for a walk somewhere.
No,
See,
absolutely.
so it's remembering to sort of factor in those things that kind of just
Yes, yes. So if you can't do that sort of that main thing like paddle boarding or I love swimming in the sea,
yeah,
you can choose the next best thing, can't you? It doesn't mean you don't do anything or don't do it at all, but you
yeah,
try and get a similar feeling in another way. I like that.
yeah.
So again, thanks ever so much. Uh,
Pleasure. I've really, really enjoyed talking to you, Beth.
I've enjoyed it as well. Take care and yeah, all the best with your Christmas season in your creative world.